The balmy night air of Key Biscayne, Florida, was thick with the scent of salt and sea grapes. It was June 30th, 1964. A world of luxury and privilege seemed to sleep peacefully behind manicured hedges and gated mansions. But inside one opulent apartment, a scene of unimaginable violence had just unfolded. The victim was Jacques Mossler, a banking tycoon. He lay dead, his body riddled with stab wounds. This was not a random act, not a burglary gone wrong. This was a murder that would shock even the most jaded observer and expose the dark underbelly of wealth and desire. The Mossler name was synonymous with power and influence. Jacques had amassed a fortune through banking and investments. His wife, Candice, known as Candy, was a fixture in Houston society, renowned for her beauty and extravagant lifestyle. Their move from Texas to the secluded paradise of Key Biscayne should have been a new chapter in their fairy tale life. Instead, it became a gruesome spectacle, splashed across newspapers nationwide. The murder of Jacques Mossler was about to become a media sensation. It was a case that had it all: wealth, sex, and a family torn apart by betrayal. Jacques Mossler was a self-made man. He had built his empire from the ground up, starting with a small loan company in Texas. His ambition and business acumen were legendary. He was a man who demanded respect, both in the boardroom and at home.
I was drawn to Jacques' wealth and status. He had this aura about him.
Candy was his polar opposite. She was a woman who craved attention with a taste for the finer things in life. Their marriage was a study in contrasts. They met at a country club in Houston. Candy, then a young divorcee, was immediately drawn to Jacques' wealth and status. He was captivated by her beauty and vivacious personality. They married soon after, merging her social ambitions with his financial prowess.
To the outside world, we were the epitome of success.
But behind the facade of their seemingly idyllic marriage lurked a darker truth. Whispers of infidelity and discontent followed them like shadows. The move to Key Biscayne was supposed to be a fresh start. It was an escape from the rumor mill of Houston society. But old habits die hard, and the cracks in their marriage only widened under the Florida sun. Candy had been out of town visiting relatives in Houston. She returned to their luxurious apartment expecting to find her husband. Instead, she found a nightmare. The door was ajar. A sense of dread washed over her as she stepped inside. The apartment was eerily silent.
Jacques, are you here?
She called out for Jacques, her voice trembling. There was no answer. Her heart pounded in her chest as she made her way down the hallway. And then she saw him. Jacques lay sprawled on the floor, his lifeless eyes staring up at the ceiling. Blood pooled around his body, staining the pristine white carpet crimson.
Oh my God, no.
Candy screamed. The sound echoed through the empty apartment, a chilling testament to the horror that had unfolded within those walls. She stumbled back, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle another scream. Her mind raced to make sense of the scene before her. Who could have done this? And why? The police investigation quickly focused on Melvin Lane Powers, Candy's nephew. Melvin was no stranger to the Mossler household. He had been living with the couple for several months. Melvin claimed he had been out of town at the time of the murder, but the evidence against him was mounting. A bloody fingerprint, later identified as Melvin's, was found at the crime scene. The police theorized that Melvin's motive was jealousy and greed. The trial of Melvin Lane Powers was one of the most sensational in Florida history. The courtroom became a stage for a real-life soap opera, playing out in front of a captivated audience. Reporters from across the country flocked to the small Florida town, eager to report on every twist and turn of the case.
The prosecution painted a picture of a cold-blooded killer, driven by lust and greed. They presented Melvin as a manipulative opportunist who had betrayed the trust of the man who had taken him in.
The defense countered with a narrative of a loving nephew wrongly accused. They argued that the police had rushed to judgment, focusing on Melvin simply because he was an easy target.
Candy was the star witness for the defense. She took the stand in a dramatic display of loyalty, proclaiming Melvin's innocence. Her testimony was passionate and unwavering, but it was also contradictory and often evasive.
The prosecution seized on her inconsistencies, portraying her as a woman blinded by love for her nephew. They insinuated that she would go to any lengths to protect him, even if it meant obscuring the truth. Outside the courtroom, the rumor mill went into overdrive. The trial had become a public obsession, fueled by salacious details and endless speculation.
The relationship between Candy and Melvin was the subject of much gossip. Were they lovers? Had they conspired to kill Jacques?
The prosecution hinted at a sexual relationship between them, but they could never produce any concrete evidence. The defense dismissed the rumors as baseless slander intended to prejudice the jury against their client.
But the whispers persisted. The trial had tapped into a deep fascination with the private lives of the wealthy and powerful. People devoured every detail, eager for a glimpse into a world of privilege and scandal.
The case had become more than just a murder trial. It was a morality play, a cautionary tale about the corrosive effects of wealth and desire. After weeks of testimony and legal maneuvering, the case went to the jury. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. The weight of the evidence, the sensational nature of the crime, the cloud of suspicion that hung over Candy and Melvin. It all rested on the shoulders of 12 ordinary citizens. The jury deliberated for days. The world waited with bated breath for their verdict. Finally, they returned, their faces grim.
Not guilty, he declared.
A collective gasp filled the courtroom. Melvin Lane Powers was a free man. The verdict sent shockwaves across the nation. Many believed that Melvin had gotten away with murder. Others maintained his innocence, convinced that the prosecution had failed to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The verdict did little to quell the rumors and speculation. If anything, it only intensified the debate. The case of the state of Florida versus Melvin Lane Powers became a legal enigma, a testament to the power of reasonable doubt and the enduring allure of a good mystery. The shadow of suspicion followed Candy and Melvin long after the trial ended. They retreated from the public eye, seeking refuge from the glare of the media spotlight. Candy returned to Texas, where she lived a reclusive life. She never remarried, forever bound to the memory of her slain husband and the scandal that had consumed her family. Melvin, too, struggled to outrun his past. He moved to California, hoping to start anew, but the whispers followed him, a constant reminder of the crime he had been acquitted of.
He changed his name, trying to build a new life for himself. He found work as a salesman, a far cry from the world of wealth and privilege he had once known. But the past had a way of catching up with him. He was recognized, his story recounted in hushed tones. The trial had left an indelible mark, a stain that time could not erase.
Years turned into decades. The scandalous trial slowly faded from public memory, replaced by other sensational headlines. But for those who had lived through it, the case of Jacques Mossler's murder continued to fascinate and intrigue. Candy Mossler died in 1974 at the age of 50. Her death was shrouded in controversy, much like her life. Some whispered that she had been murdered, silenced by the secret she carried. Others believed that she had finally succumbed to the weight of her past, her spirit broken by the scandal that had come to define her.
Melvin Lane Powers lived a long life, outliving both Candy and the shadow of the trial. He died in 2013 at the age of 88. He maintained his innocence until his dying breath, insisting that he had been wrongly accused. In his final years, he granted a handful of interviews, recounting his version of events and proclaiming his innocence, but his words did little to sway public opinion. The stain of suspicion remained, a haunting reminder of the night that had changed his life forever.
The murder of Jacques Mossler remains unsolved to this day. It stands as a chilling reminder that even in paradise, darkness can lurk. The case continues to captivate true crime enthusiasts and legal scholars alike, a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the elusiveness of truth. Did Melvin Lane Powers get away with murder, or was he an innocent man, wrongly accused? The answer, like so much else in this twisted tale, remains a mystery. The case serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that wealth and privilege offer no immunity from the darker impulses of the human heart. It is a story of love and betrayal, of ambition and greed, played out on a national stage, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and enduring fascination. The Mossler-Powers trial reminds us that truth can be elusive and justice can be a fickle mistress. It is a story that continues to resonate today, a haunting reminder that sometimes the most shocking crimes are committed not in the shadows, but in the full glare of the sun.